Congratulations on your decision to make an oral presentation at the SAGE Student Research Conference. The Student Research Conference is organized by the Student Research Advisory Committee at CSU Channel Islands and our campus partners. The Student Research Conference is supported by a generous contribution from Sage Publishing in Thousand Oaks, California. During your presentation, faculty, staff, and volunteer judges will be present. Their purpose is to evaluate your work, and if you opt in, you might win an award. Our evaluation tool is adapted from the scoring rubric used by the CSU's statewide student research competition. The scoring rubric has 7 components. 6 components are scored on a scale from 0 to 15. The 7th component is scored on a scale from 1 to 10 for a total of 100 points. The first 6 components address your ability to present your research orally. The last component evaluates your ability to handle questions from the judges and from the audience. The first component is clarity of purpose. We expect the presenter to explain their motivation, their purpose, or the significance of the work. What got you interested in this topic? You might want to tell a story about how you got involved. It might be personal, or it might relate to a question that came up in a course. You need to address the appropriateness of your methodology. Why is it that your approach for studying the thing that you're interested in is the appropriate way to study it? If you're doing a survey, why survey that population? If you're using a particular lab technique, why are you using that technique as opposed to some of the alternatives? If you are engaged in a creative project, why did you choose poetry over short story form? Next is the quality of your analysis or your interpretation. You need to be able to communicate your interpretation. Take some time to explain your findings. It's very common for undergraduates to do a lot of work to create their results and spend little time explaining their results when this is the heart of the presentation. Keep in mind that not everyone in the room can interpret your findings, so you're going to need to guide them through your interpretation. Demonstrate your ability to present the research or creative activity. Make sure that you are professional, clear, and understandable to an interdisciplinary audience. Be confident. Keep in mind that your audience is interdisciplinary, meaning that you are going to respect the diversity of interests and abilities in the audience. Think of this as an opportunity to teach people about your research, providing sufficient details so that people can understand what your research is all about. Make sure that your presentation is organized well, that it follows a logical pattern and leads the audience through the arc of your research. Your presentation should be well organized, just like any good story. Your presentation should have a beginning, a middle, and the end. And your job is to guide the audience through the story of your research. Be sure to communicate the value of your research or creative activity to the discipline. This is called translational significance. Translational significance is a big term that simply means that you are able to communicate to other people why it is that your research should be of interest to someone other than yourself. What are the implications for your field? What are the implications for the community and for society? What are the implications for scholarship in other disciplines? You don't have to be able to answer all of these questions. Not all of them may be appropriate for what you're doing. But you should be able to answer at least one of these questions. Here are some suggestions for oral presentations. First, prepare your presentation. Make sure that your slides are well designed, mostly free from text, and that you proofread the text that you do have. Nothing undermines one's credibility faster than sloppy mistakes on PowerPoint slides. Second, practice your presentation. Don't try to do it off the top of your head. Very few people are good extemporaneous speakers. Address the main points of the scoring rubric. Are you sure that you are addressing all of them? If not, go back and find another way to explain. Finally, be confident. This is your research or creative activity. You know more about this topic than probably anybody else in the room. Be confident. Speak up. Establish eye contact with at least a few people in the room. Be enthusiastic. And answer questions directly. Speaking of questions, the ability to handle questions is also a part of the scoring rubric. This part is scored on a scale from 0 to 10. When you answer questions, you want to be sure that you are responding to the question that's being asked. People ask questions because they're confused, they're curious, or they just want to know what you think. Be sure to address their questions with intention. Here are some tips for answering questions. First of all, prepare for questions. There are some questions that are very common. What got you interested in this topic? What are your next steps for this research? Why should anyone be concerned about your topic? These are things that crop up all the time. You can also anticipate questions. Practice some self-criticism. Think about the questions someone who's well-versed in your research, like you, might ask, and be prepared with answers to those questions. 2. If you don't understand a question, ask for clarification. Asking somebody to restate their question in a way that maybe you'll understand better, that's all right. When possible, summarize the question that's being asked to ensure that you fully understand the question. By summarizing the question, oftentimes the person who's asking the question will clarify themselves because you're not getting the question the way that they put it to you. If you get a question that you don't know the answer to, be prepared to say, I don't know. That's okay as long as it's not your response for every question. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Once again, congratulations on your decision to present at SAGE. The SAGE Student Research Conference is organized by Student Research at CSUCI with the cooperation of many campus partners. Presenting your research is a real accomplishment. Enjoy your day at the SAGE Student Research Conference.